You know that feeling when you read a piece of ancient wisdom and you just know there's something profound there, but you're not exactly sure what it means for you right now? Well, today we're looking at a book called Pearls of Christ that tackles that exact feeling by using, of all things, 20th century art to unlock 2,000-year-old ideas. And it's a really fascinating approach. So that brings us right to the big question, doesn't it? How in the world can an art movement from the 1900s have anything to say about wisdom that's literally 2 millennia old? I mean, it sounds like a pretty strange combination. But trust me, let's dig in and see how the author pulls it off.
Okay, so the book's whole premise is that maybe we've been looking at these ancient sayings the wrong way. It argues that this isn't just a collection of famous quotes to be memorized. No, it's an invitation to see the world differently. It takes some of the most puzzling commands from texts like the Gospel of Thomas and basically challenges us to stop looking for one single, correct meaning.
And the key to this whole new perspective is Cubism. Now, you've probably heard of it. Think of an artist like Picasso. He didn't just paint a face from one angle, right? He'd show you the front, the side, maybe even a view from the top, all at the same time. The idea was that by smashing all these viewpoints together, you actually get a deeper, more complete truth of who that person is. And that is the absolute core idea of this book. A traditional way of reading gives you one perspective, one angle on the truth. But a Cubist approach, well, that suggests that real wisdom is like one of those Picasso paintings. You understand it best when you can see all the different angles at once. The real insight isn't in any one view, but in the tension between them all. So that's the big idea. But how does the book actually do that? I mean, it's a cool concept, but how do you apply it to an ancient text? Well, it turns out the answer is a really simple but super effective 3-part structure that's used for every single saying in the book. So for every saying, you get 3 different viewpoints. First, you get the original text just as it was written down centuries ago. Second, you get a modernized version that kind of boils the idea down into today's language. And third, and this is my favorite part, you get something called the echo. This is a quote from a modern person, sometimes someone you'd never expect, that just happens to resonate with that ancient idea. And this is where it all clicks into place. The book never just hands you the answer. By putting these 3 totally different perspectives right next to each other, it's basically inviting you to be the one to find the connections. It's up to you to connect the dots and figure out what it all means.
I know this might still sound a little abstract, so let's make it real with a concrete example. We're going to look at one of the most well-known parables that the book breaks down, the story of the merchant and the priceless pearl.
Okay, so first we get the original text. You can hear it's a bit poetic, a little formal, but that image is so strong, right? A merchant finds this one perfect pearl and decides to sell literally everything he owns just to have it. Next, we get the modernized version, which just cuts straight to the point. Seek the eternal pearl, sell all for lasting treasure. See how that takes the story and just turns it right into a clear, direct command? And then you get the echo. And this is where it gets really interesting because the quote is from the legendary rock critic Lester Bangs. He's talking about how authenticity, being uncool, is the only real currency we have. It's from a completely different universe, but wow, it hits that exact same note as the 2,000-year-old parable.
Do you see how that works? In just a few lines, we've jumped from an ancient parable to a modern command to this gritty quote from a rock journalist. And it's somewhere in that space between those 3 points that a much deeper, more personal idea of what that pearl really is starts to form.
So why does all this matter? I mean, for anyone out there browsing for a new book or just curious about these ancient teachings, what's the real value here? What's the takeaway?
Well, this is what I think is so great about it. This book's whole structure is designed to turn you from just a passive reader into an active participant. It doesn't just let you read the wisdom, it kind of forces you to build the bridges yourself, to connect these timeless ideas to your own modern life, and to find your own truth in that space between them all. You know, a line from the book's own conclusion really sums it all up perfectly. It says, the goal isn't to tell you what to believe, but to give you the tools, these multiple viewpoints, so you can discover a timeless truth for yourself. When you get right down to it, it's really an exercise in learning how to see.
So, in the end, the book lays out all the pieces for you. You've got the ancient text, the modern take, and that surprising echo from today. The only question it leaves you with is probably the most important one of all. What timeless truths are out there, just waiting for your interpretation?